This one's actually working. Dan, E3 started.
Hi, Jamie.
Take two.
Yes, E3 happened this morning at 6 a.m. Australian time.
Well, pre E3.
Yeah, pre E3. It was not worth waking up that early to watch, even though I literally didn't have to move from the couch.
Yeah, 6 a.m. was a pretty rough start for something that was so underwhelming. And that'd be the word I'd use, is underwhelming.
I had really high hopes, and it didn't deliver. It actually, even I thought they would show something that was gameplay related, and they didn't.
And that we didn't already know about.
And we did, yes. So we can go in chronological order if you want. So the first thing was Titanfall.
Yeah, more of the same.
Yep, we got one more square with a grappling hook, which looks cool.
6 new Titans.
Yep, sure. Never played first Titanfall, so I don't know that. I'm assuming that excites some people. Single player.
Leaked beforehand,
but it's probably something that they needed to put in there just to keep people happy.
It looks like they've done a decent job with it as well, and that's important if they're going to put a single player and don't put it in as just a tack on for the sake of it, because people complain and actually invest and put effort in. But it doesn't look much different. It doesn't look like there's any radical changes to what they did the first time around. It's just more of the same plus single player. So Chunt will be happy after our conversation last night. That's what he was really hanging out for.
And we also got the release date, October 28th.
So it gets in before old Vince Sampella's old heights of Infinity Ward.
Yeah, but 1 week after Battlefield 1.
Yeah, that's just bad time management.
EA like chewing into its own demographic, isn't it?
Some ways, not. I think they're different. I think Battlefield has such a nailed on crowd that those people will come back. They're going to chew up a lot of the Call of Duty crowd as well, but I think Titanfall and Battlefield might chew that same crowd together. But again, it is weird. Why would you not have them maybe a month out from one another? Give each chance to kind of really flourish. Because as well as we're going to discuss later, there'll be a period in October before November even happens now where there is stupid amounts of games coming out.
Yeah, and there's also separate from the conferences, they also announced that the first Titanfall won't be going to PS4 or anything like that. So,
no, they're just literally going from 2 onwards. But there was no story in the first one, so it's not as if the PlayStation users are missing out on anything. No. What do we have after that, Madden?
So next day they went down a strange route about talking about competitive leagues and things like that. So they showed a trailer for Madden, which was, looks like more Madden. And then they went on about, the big competitive Madden leagues that they have going, which you and I didn't even... I knew they had some competitive leagues, but I didn't know that.
I didn't realise they were that big to warrant $1 million prize pool.
And the strange thing is that they showed it because they had 2 presentations going on at once, one in LA and one over in London. But for Madden, they were premiering it in front of the London crowd. They weren't doing it in America. So I'm like, well, no wonder there's no one cheering for this.
Nobody really cares over here. They did do that later with FIFA, but at the same time, I agree.
Yeah, but that's FIFA.
But the competitive guys that entered that, they've got to the round, the last 8 players. That was in America. It's like, oh, well, here are these people. Yeah. Now back to London. Yeah, a bit strange to kind of show it off in that regard. But Madden doesn't mean much to either of us, I don't think. It's good for people who play and enjoy Madden. You're getting a new one, and you're getting tournaments to go with it. Challenger being a more accessible way into competitive play for people who maybe aren't at that quite pro level. That seems quite interesting, but hopefully they'll roll that out across other franchises too.
There's a common theme throughout EA in this conference about the Frostbite, and I noticed that they didn't mention anything about Frostbite.
It wasn't mentioned in Madden,
so
next year.
That might be a next year thing. Which led us into what we thought was going to be the highlight, which was Mass Effect.
Yeah, it was 20 minutes of Mass Effect.
They gave us some Mass Effect, some looks into what Mass Effect looks like.
It was some in-game footage or in-game capturing of space, basically, and that was pretty much the entire Mass Effect.
We saw what's essentially probably going to be a new ship. We saw the Mako on a desert planet.
And
sort of
there was a
some
glimpse
characters.
of what we assume could be the main character of the game.
Yeah, which they're displayed as a female
Yeah,
as well,
which
which
is
is
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
But the things they were actually saying about the game was nothing that we didn't already know.
Yeah, this led us both to think that it's way further off than they're maybe letting on. It got pushed to like first quarter of next year. I don't think so.
I don't think it's making that. I think it's fourth quarter of next year's game.
Yeah, so it's
November, October release.
Something that we expected to talk quite a bit about and have some time chewed up by. Not really. Not really. There's nothing much more to say about Mass Effect. What we saw looks fucking pretty, and it will sell gangbusters, and people are keen to hear more about it.
And the game will be good. Yeah, at least it will be good. But we just don't.
We don't know who, what, why,
anything
when, or
more
how.
about it.
Nothing that we didn't know going in.
You want to talk about some EA Access that popped up?
Yeah, so they did this last year, where the E3 week they put everything in the vault, so you can try all of the EA Vault titles for free this week. Whereas usually there's only a select number of them that are classed as Vault titles that come with the subscription service. I did just hop on to see if they were there prior to us starting recording this, and it's not gone up yet. So whether that's a time-locked thing, because I'm set on the Australian region, I don't know. But yeah, that's cool. It's nice of them to do it, because you will make more sales off that. Like we were saying, I haven't played UFC 2. The time I played UFC last year was this time. I was like, oh, I'll download it, I'll give it a play. I didn't buy it, but it was nice for me to experience it. Keen to do the same thing this year. Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2 will go in there. Like, just little games that you can stick in, maybe try for an hour. If you like it, buy it. It's nice that they do it. And did they come out there into FIFA?
Yeah, then they came out to FIFA and showed off the new Journey, the Journey.
Yeah, again, more disappointment. I was really excited to see what FIFA from its gameplay standpoint looked like. And all we got was, again, in-engine footage of the Journey, which, fair enough, it looks cool. They've put a story mode in.
Yeah.
Your journey to being a Premier League footballer. Kind of annoyed that it seems you have to be the default character. It's not like you create your own version of you.
Yeah, so this was a thing that 2K's been, NBA 2K's been doing a while now with...
the My Career thing.
Yeah, and usually you just created your own player and whatnot. In 2K16, they actually got Spike Lee to come in and
write the
story in that. But that actually, and my reviews up on GamePlug, I think that actually didn't work as well for me, because you could name yourself who you are, but they always refer to you as this character, the
in-game character.
That it's one step removed from being yourself, and I feel like that's what the Journey kind of is doing.
It is what it's going to do. That's not what I was interested in. Yes, it looks pretty. Yes, there's now the 20 Premier League managers are in the game. Yay, finally.
Some people to stand on the side.
No, but it is actually, it's a bit more meaningful. Yeah,
it would be good because I think there was a split second where you see, like, after a goal scored.
That's what I mean. It adds to the immersion. Like, if you're celebrating with the manager, it's the actual manager of the team, things like that. Like, it's good. But we didn't get to see gameplay. We didn't get to see a match in action. And I'm hoping, obviously, as the week progresses, they said they've got 17 booths out there. So you have to imagine some kind of content creators are, picking footage, and that'll come out in the next couple of weeks. So no real voice on FIFA other than it's in Frostbite, which we already knew. Jose Mourinho's got seemingly quite a bit to do with it. He's in all the voiceovers for the adverts, and he came out on stage and got paid a fortune for waving. And yeah, it's just wait and find out what the actual gameplay is now. It's one of those games that comes out every year, so you expect by now that they've shown something. They didn't. Again, minorly disappointing. Where did we come out of there to? EA Origins?
Then we came out to the EA Originals, basically EA coming out and showing that they're not a horrible company, and how they're giving money and helping fund these smaller studios and projects. So they showed that Fee game, which looks, and you kind of called it when we were watching it as
Ori and the Blind
Forest cross with Journey type deal. Looks fine, but
it didn't have the same impact on me as Unravel did last year.
Yeah, no, I felt that too. But also, that's the only game we really got to see gameplay from.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wouldn't have been as exciting, but I would have rather seen a bunch of those games and a bunch more gameplay from different smaller games
than just concepts.
Yeah, than just a bunch of concepts. Which we'll go to now. Star Wars, which is
it was the biggest letdown of the whole conference, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, they showed what is already out there, which is fine, and then they sort of I don't know if it was an announcement, but Motive is working with DICE on a Battlefront 2. For Battlefront 2, which will come next year, apparently.
And include current saga material. Fair enough. You need to put a story in it.
They didn't mention anything about single player.
They just said they were listening to feedback and adding more things that fans want.
Yeah, and when they said that, and there's like, we've been listening to the fans and stuff, I'm like, we're going to hear
story.
Like what Titanfall did, we're going to see and there will be single player. They didn't say anything about that. And then they basically said that the Amy Hennig game is coming in 2018.
Too far out for us to even care about. I'm wishing 2 years of my life away.
The other Respawn team, they didn't even mention a date. They just said we're working on this as well.
And the language that was used was and following that.
Yeah.
So that to me gives me the impression that it's after Amy Hennig's game, which then puts us 2019, 2020. It's an insane amount of time away. Don't tell us about this stuff now.
Yeah. And then they went through the developer diaries and stuff. Like seeing the Respawn stuff with the director who came from Santa Monica Studios
and the lightsaber
stuff. I'm like, that's cool, but I'd rather see the game.
Yeah, and how far away is it? I think they did fluff their lines a little bit with that, but at least we saw.
Once again, all these games seem like they're going to be good.
But it's just why we don't need to know about them now. We don't need to be getting hyped for a video game that's half a decade away, potentially. Do you know what I mean? It's like, don't put that pressure on the studios. All the concepts and things that they're working on, it's cool to have that little bit of a developer diary behind the series of all these different devs that are doing stuff. But there was no reason to just stand there and say, this studio, they're all working on Star Wars property. We'll have more to tell you this time next year. Or we'll have more to say to you at Gamescom and do a little bit more and stagger it. Don't just go, these are all doing this, and guess what? 2018 is fucking ages away. And that was, it was again, it added to that level. All right, well, I think we both thought that they were going to kill it. And by this point, we were just a bit deflated, very tired, and like, a bit meh. Yeah. Battlefield closed the show out. Yeah,
looks great. I made the complaint when we were watching it. I'm like, I'm sick of seeing the in-game engine
show us some actual.
I wanted someone just to get up on stage and just play a game for 10 minutes. But they did mention they're having the multiplayer massive match after it, so
which we caught up with when we eventually woke.
Which looks good.
It looks amazing.
It was really good. Obviously not my type of thing, but I like that they're doing something different. But yeah, like from the actual conference, I didn't get that much out of it.
No. We didn't learn anything we didn't already know about, and that's something that we'll touch on in a minute when we move to Bethesda. About knowing about things, but then still having an element of surprise, because there was nothing there that was surprising. The trailer for FIFA using Frostbite was announced last week.
Yeah.
Titanfall, we knew it was coming. It was leaked prior to the event going. All right, yeah, the EA Originals thing, that was a nice kind of surprise, but the game they showed looked like generic bullshit. And it's like, was there really a need for you to do this? Should you have just said, we're not having a conference this year, and you take FIFA, you take Battlefield, and you take Titanfall, and you take them to someone else's conference?
Like, they already made the separation factor of not being at E3 and having their own little thing in their own, like, why have it at all? Just set up the area where everyone's playing.
Just have it on the show floor, and then anything like I said, Battlefield, your big franchises, Microsoft and Sony will give you space to spend the same 3 or 4 minutes that they did in their own conference talking about those games.
Yeah.
So EA, massively underwhelming. Still keen for the titles. Like Titanfall 2 looks good. Battlefield 1 looks good. FIFA I'm gonna buy. But I didn't need to get up at 6 AM this morning to see it, which was the disappointing fact. Fast forward to midday or 20 past midday by the time we eventually got into the conference, which was it was a bit odd, but
it took them a while. But
major delayage.
But yeah,
Bethesda.
the first thing you see, the first thing they come out with, Quake Champions. Sorry, specifically.
Just confirm that rumor. It's been rumored for a while. Ums and ahs. Out of the gate, bang! Here's Quake.
And we were talking literally because we were waiting for the 20 minutes for the thing to start, and we were trying to think of like, oh, well, who would develop it? Because we were saying how
it should spiritually be id, but how do they do it?
Because the style of what Doom is, because I was playing it last night, and the style of what it is can really fit into Quake, but the thing people aren't really raging on about the multiplayer, so it's like how they're going to do with Quake. And when they show that CG trailer, which is fine for an announcement trailer, that's fine. They come out and they said the head of id is
this is the guy that's going to talk to you about it. And here it is. It's being done by id. It's PC only.
Yeah.
And they stated because they want to hit 120 frames a second.
Yeah. It's just
fine.
Ridiculous specs and whatever. I'm like,
serious Twitch gameplay, and it's fine. You can't. I don't think Quake would function well on a console environment for that exact reason. The hardcore base that are there, they expect that level of performance.
Yeah.
They are that zoned in. It is fast. It is unbelievably quick.
Yeah.
And it's cool for them to get what they want.
Yeah. Then they went through their wrap up of last year and basically how good it was,
how good everything had been.
And then for me, and it started slowing down a little bit for me around that time. Because then they went on to the Elder Scrolls Legends
card game,
the card game,
which we said last night. We were like, it's going to be there. It'll be the Fallout shelter this year. It'll get a little bit of a showcase. It got nowhere near as big a pop. Like, it was just here's our Hearthstone clone. Have fun.
They had a little cinematic for it. I'm like, I don't know why a card game needs a cinematic, but okay.
But as that cinematic ended,
then we went into Fallout 4, and they showed like a Workshop 2.0, and they showed like a build your own vault stuff. Are you excited about that stuff?
Not in the slightest. It's basically it's an enhanced version of the settlement builder that's already in the game, and I don't use that. I find it tiresome. It shouldn't be in there. If I wanted to build shit, I'd play Minecraft. Fair enough, if people do enjoy it, they'll get something out of it, but I was more intrigued by the, again, already rumoured Nuka World. That seems like it's actually story-driven. Wicked, that's what people want, more story-driven DLC. It's rumoured to be the reason that they've increased the price of the Season Pass, because they were never expecting to go past Far Harbour with DLC content. So wicked, more Fallout DLC.
Cool. And then we got the Skyrim Special Edition.
That looks fucking badass.
Now, I tried playing Skyrim. It wasn't my type of game. And even when I was hearing them that having a definitive edition, or whatever it was going to be called, in this case Special Edition, I still wasn't. I'm just going. When the images popped up on the screen and the differences from PS3 to PS4 and Xbox One, I was like, holy shit!
It looks a generation better.
Yeah, I want to see what like the character models and stuff look like. It was more environmental stuff that they showed.
The environmental stuff's easier to do. The character models, Bethesda's character models are always horrific. Yeah. Fallout 4's character models were fucking atrocious. I don't think we can expect too much on that front.
But even as someone that didn't really like playing that type of game, I totally respect what Skyrim is and what it is to many, many people and what they've done to it to bring it. So that's coming on the 28th of October.
Which was the surprising part. I was adamant yesterday that if it was announced it comes out today, or it comes out E3 week, it's like ready to go now. But I think maybe mod support, all that stuff, because they're still ironing out issues with Fallout 4 with that. They need to make sure that it's done. They need to make sure that it's a fucking big game, and all of the environments need to be finished, but they're putting the resources in to do it, and I'm so fucking happy they are.
Yeah, and it's great that they've got the mods happening.
Especially having like that time of year this year, there's no Mass Effect. Mass Effect's being delayed. We don't have Fallout this year. Like, The Witcher's done. You don't have that big open world kind of thing, so going back to Skyrim, super happy with. We'll definitely buy that game.
Then we moved on to Arcane came out, and we thought they were going to talk about Dishonored 2, but they said, well, I'll talk about that later, and they showed a Prey reboot. So not a sequel, just a reboot. Just another CG trailer.
Yeah, no gameplay.
But yeah, definitely moody. I never played the first Prey.
It sticks to the aesthetic of it, but it looks a bit darker, a little bit more. I got a little bit of a feeling from some of it was very Dead Spacey.
Yeah,
but not obviously confined to just the character, but just the kind of the first person screens they did a little bit looked a bit like, oh, this is kind of got a bit of horror trope about it, which was fine. But yeah, it's another thing where I think that'll get the Dishonored treatment, where next year, when they inevitably do this again, it could be a featured title and could come next year, maybe 2 years off, I think, considering we saw absolutely nothing really.
Well, see, if I really like what Bethesda's doing. So last year they did the whole Fallout 4's coming. Announced it at E3 came out. It was games that are smaller, like a Dishonored 2, and I'm predicting like this Prey. So last year you show a CG trailer to announce it. Then in the next E3 you actually
give it the time of day.
Give it the time of day, show the gameplay, and then it comes out in November or whatnot. And I reckon, which is essentially what they've done with Dishonored 2, and I reckon the same will be done with Prey.
Yeah,
so next year they come back, they show the gameplay, and it gets released later in the year.
And what they did with that kind of announcement this year, you feel, even though it didn't even need to get spoken about, was the Skyrim special edition, because it's like, look, Skyrim special edition, it's real, it's coming out this year.
Yeah.
No more needs to be said. They shut Prey out, and that was where we moved to Doom, was it?
Yeah, so they talked about the Doom
snap
map, and also the demo for people to be able to try it out.
Yeah, you can play the first level of the campaign. For free. That was this week only as well, right? Though.
Yeah, I believe so.
So fair enough.
Which is good, because I played it last night, and it's worth getting your hands on and having a go.
Yeah, see if you actually enjoy it. It's like they said, it's a demo.
Yeah,
here's a Doom demo. Thank you. Said everybody that hasn't played it, they will now get to try it.
Then we moved on to Elder Scrolls Online, which I haven't played, but you have, and they announced that some more DLC basically coming from
and that's
stories.
That's where I got a little bit stuck, because it's like I have it on PC and on console. Between them, maybe 10 hours. I haven't played enough of it to go, wow, I love this, I'm super keen, like that one girl in the audience that was literally wetting her pants every time he made an announcement about it. But I have seen that I get the emails come through from them, so yes, I've seen that they've done the Thieves Guild DLC. I saw the teaser for the Dark Brotherhood DLC. The Dark Brotherhood quests are my favourite part of the Elder Scrolls games, but it's not enough to get me reinvested, I don't think. I think I'd have to spend a good 30-40 hours to actually get invested in it, and then being an MMO, you obviously constantly have to keep going and grinding. The interesting part was what they're doing with the one Tamriel. That's pretty cool, because that'll open all content up to all level of characters, so it's scaled rather than having level capped areas. So I'm a level 10 character, I can't go wandering into a level 30 zone. I can now go wherever the hell I want, and the enemies in the area will scale to me. Cool.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. That's coming in the fall. The Dark Brotherhood stuff drops on, did you say Tuesday? Next Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Oh yeah, Tuesday coming, which is
our Wednesday.
Couple of days, our Wednesday, so that's this week. Fantastic. I just wish they'd do it for free. Do free DLC drops. But that's not how an MMO works when they get rid of their subscription model. Yeah, I won't get back into it, but I don't think might stick it on one day and be like, oh, let's see if we can get into this, but it's not on the hype list.
Then they popped out and did a little bit of a surprise for everyone, and Bethesda VR screen popped up, and they really almost went, what the hell, for a second, because they mentioned that a few years ago when VR was first at E3, that they
were the first to figure out some of the bugs. Right?
And then now that you're going to be able to try VR out with Doom, as a virtual tour, and I went, "Oh my god!" I was talking with you last night when we were playing.
It's so fast paced.
It's so fast paced, and then when they're like doing VR, I'm like panicking inside. I'm like, people are gonna get sick.
Yeah.
Blah blah. But they said it's just a virtual tour of like Mars and Hell. I think. But then as soon as I was just relaxing from that, they went, and you'll be able to try out in their little section. You'll be able to try Fallout 4 on the HTC Vive.
And everybody was like, "What the shit?
What the hell?"
Very
awesome.
yeah. I figured they were going to do an official version of it because you can actually. There's homebrewware that will let you run Fallout 4 in VR already. So for them to do an official version makes tons of sense. They can actually support it properly. They have the correct kind of optics to be able to do it. They can figure out how their engine and their game actually works without someone just manipulating software to do it. So it'll be much less flawed. But that's amazing. Like it is right. What kind of an environment works best for virtual reality? First person action adventure or RPG. You're in first person. You are in that world. You look around. There's Red Rocket there. You look down at your wrist and you've got a Pip-Boy on it. Like, totally agree. The right experience. And now I really, really can't wait for Elder Scrolls 6.
And that's the thing, right? Especially with the whole thing having the Pip-Boy and especially with the Vive being able to...
You have the control of your arms and you can look up. It's pretty mad.
And I think that's why because they didn't mention any other VR, they just said the Vive. And I think that's why they really wanted to test it out on that.
Because
you have more movement.
Yeah, you have the movement and integration, and obviously that'll let you then akin to hold your weapons up or swing your weapons, and the future is endless. I'm pleased that they're investing in VR. I think of all the studios I'd want to, Bethesda are probably pretty high up there, and they seem pretty keen on doing it too. They then cut off to Adam Sessler to go, "Hey, we're over here, come play with us in a little bit." When they finished doing that, and then we went back over for the showcase, which had to be Dishonored. There was nothing else for it to be.
Oh, they're running out of studios. They're running out. So we finally hit Dishonored. I was a bit worried in the beginning because they were basically saying how we're showing off the environment and how we're trying to make it feel like an actual place. For a while, it was just like sweeping shots of parts of the world. I went, "Is this all we're going to get? Because if that's the case, this ain't coming out."
Yeah, this is a way away.
But then eventually that stopped, and they started going a little bit more into the story and then gameplay of it.
For me, they went far too long. I was disengaged after about 5 minutes, and then at the end they kind of ramped it up again. But that middle section was kind of like, one, this guy's voice is boring the tits out of me, and two, I'm just not. Yeah, you're running me through something, and this is what's going to happen. Let it happen. Let me watch it. Don't tell me what's about to happen.
Yeah, they should have had a pre-recorded voice over the footage, because the footage was pre-recorded. So it's like, just do the voice with that and just
some poor nervous dude having to like talk over
and time himself with what's happening on the screen. It looks like more Dishonored, but it was a bit long. You could have cut out the whole environment bit. Like, we get the environment by you playing the game and the situations that you put this in. It looks solid. They said that you could, if you pre-ordered it, you can get collector's edition.
If you digitally pre-order anywhere, so I assume that means if you will pre-order a digital copy on Amazon or on Steam or on the Xbox Store or on the PlayStation Store, any online platform, any digital copy of it, you'll receive a free copy of the definitive edition of the first Dishonored. Fine, I don't know if many people wouldn't have played it yet. It's already backwards compatible on Xbox. It already had the definitive edition. It's everywhere. If you want to play Dishonored, you can play Dishonored. Nice thing if people are looking at it going, "I'd like to get into that series," or if I wouldn't mind playing Dishonored again. A nice touch. Let's put it that way. And it's becoming more of a thing now. It's not something that we haven't seen before. Even with Fallout, if you pre-ordered Fallout 4 on Xbox, you got Fallout 3 back compat. It's something that they seem to be doing, and I'm all for it. And that pretty much wrapped them up. And it was a much, much better conference than the EA one.
So we're gonna rate these.
I don't think. I think rating we should save for when everything's happened, and kind of come back
Rate them in
and
order.
assess it. In order of who kind of did well and what. from today, yeah, Bethesda hands down walked all over what we saw from EA, and that wasn't just for the fact that we'd had to get up sillily early just to even watch EA's and then be let down by it. There've been a number of other leaks come out through the day, which I don't really want to touch on. Like,
the leaks we'll find out by tomorrow, so we can find
precisely.
out
So we'll talk about them in their actual conference space. But there's half an hour on what happened this morning.
Yeah,
we've condensed 2 hours worth of conferences into half an hour.
Yeah,
in a flash kind of style. But we'll come back tomorrow. We'll talk about what happened with Ubisoft, Microsoft, and Sony.
Yep.
And anything else that happens in between. So we'll carry on.
All right. Thanks for joining us.